Welcome to the California Department of Education Integrated and Designated English Language Development Transitional Kindergarten through Grade 12 video series. Science with Integrated English Language Development in Grade 4. In this two-part lesson, the students are in the middle of a science unit on solar energy as a resource. At the end of the unit, each student will write an informational report discussing the positive and negative effects of energy resources for a green future. The California Next Generation Science Standards driving the lesson. The science performance expectation is Grade 4, Earth and Space Science 3, Subitem 1, Earth and Human Activity, where students who demonstrate understanding can obtain and combine information to describe that energy and fuels are derived from natural resources and their uses affect the environment. Watch for how this California Science Standard is addressed throughout the lesson. The supporting California English Language Development Standards used in tandem with the science standards. The English Language Development Standards at the bridging level are Grade 4, Part 1, Standard 1, Exchanging Information and Ideas, where students contribute to class, group, and partner discussions, including sustained dialogue, by following turn-taking rules, asking relevant questions, affirming others, adding relevant information, building on responses, and providing useful feedback. And Grade 4, Part 2, Standard 2B, Understanding Cohesion, where students apply increasing understanding of how ideas, events, or reasons are linked throughout a text using an increasing variety of academic connecting and transitional words or phrases to comprehending texts and writing cohesive texts. Watch how students move from early levels of proficiency toward the bridging levels of these English language development standards throughout the lesson. In the first part of the lesson, watch how the teacher leads the students toward accurate expression of their science content knowledge by engaging them in a hands-on inquiry task. The students listen to and produce the language necessary to explain scientific phenomena and then apply learned language structures and vocabulary to the task.
Today we're going to look really closely at solar energy. So, I want you to read the objective with me. Ready, begin. We will write the process of how solar energy works. Pretty simple objective there, but we're going to take a lot of steps to get this process down, okay? Or a lot of steps to learn what this process really is. We've learned about solar energy. We've learned about positives and negatives of using solar energy, but now I really want to know, how does solar energy work, okay? If I'm going to explain it to somebody, can I describe the process of how solar energy works? That's our whole objective here, okay? I want you to make a hypothesis, an educated guess here about what the answer to that question is. How do solar panels produce energy? So I want you to think right now. And in your partnerships with somebody at your table, I want you to talk really quick and answer this question the best you can. Maybe add on to each other's ideas if you want to extend those thoughts.
Sometimes the solar panels absorb it, and then it goes inside the solar panel like through some wiring, and then goes like through the lights, and then you can like connect your phone so like you can charge it. I think that's how I think solar panels work.
Our experiment, you're gonna have two supplies. A bobblehead toy, or solar panel toy of some sort. Some look different, but it has solar panels on it. And you're gonna have a flashlight. Okay? Now what you're going to do is this is going to serve as your sun, okay? And this is going to have your solar panel. And I want you to make a prediction here. What do you think is gonna happen if I take my sun and put it towards my solar panels? Make a hypothesis. What do you believe will happen here? And I want you to talk with a partner now. Go.
So how would that deal in a real life situation? So it's got like the wobbles thing is like the solar panel, and then the sun, the flashlight of the sun, it's gonna hit the solar panel, which is gonna generate the thing to move, the electricity. So it's gonna generate the electricity into the wall bolt thing, and then it's gonna make it move because they're using electricity to make it move. What do you think? I agree with you guys because I was actually thinking the same thing.
Now that you've had a chance to talk to your tables, get some ideas, put it into words on the Make a Hypothesis sheet or section in the box. Please write down what you think will happen. Lots of ways you can start that. I believe that. I predict that. I hypothesize that. Write it down just in a quick statement. One statement. That's all you need. I want to have somebody share out their answer of what they put here for their hypothesis. What did you hypothesize about Edgar?
I believe that when you shine the light to the toy, like the dark color is going to be like a bright color.
The dark color on the panel will turn light, like a bright color.
Like a bright color.
Okay. Do I have another hypothesis, Alicia?
I believe that when the sun touches the solar panel, the solar toy will start to move side to side.
We had some good predictions. So now what we're going to do is actually start to experiment with our solar panels. On your desk, you have either a solar panel bobblehead or just a little toy or something completely different. So you now are going to do that experiment. Position 2, you are going to be our sun. You're going to be in charge of that flashlight. And what you're going to do, I will model with you guys. When I say, you'll take off the tape, but you'll turn your flashlight on and you're going to hold it far away and increasingly get closer and closer and closer. As you're doing that, I want you to pay attention to your object, and what your object is doing because of that. Does something happen? Does it remain the same? I want you to start to see here. And I want you to have in your conversations, I observe this, or, oh, I am noticing this. I recognize this. And I want you to have that discussion with each other about what you're noticing within this experiment.
I realize something. Oh, his eyes are moving. I do realize. That's what I believe that the toilet was going to move.
Yeah, I realized something.
What?
It's moving faster.
Oh, it's
So when I come out,
No, it's not that fast. It doesn't
not that fast at all. When you get closer, it's gonna go
It actually
faster.
looks faster. Oh, that's what I predicted, that it was gonna move.
You guys have a little different one, so you are actually going to hold it up, and I want you to count to 10. After you count to 10, you are going to cover the solar panel. But do it like that. Chris will hold it and hold it up to it real close. You can go up closer. Count to 10.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cover it.
Go.
I knew that would happen because
I knew that.
that's really
That's weird.
that's
Can I
really
try?
weird. I want to do it again.
That's weird. Okay, wait. Wait, but how do we turn it off?
I don't think you turn it on.
Wait, let's try doing it to
Wait, I
see if
think
it
we
turns
just-
off. Let's see if it can turn off.
Yeah, let's see if it can turn off.
Ready?
So hold it again.
No, cover.
Oh.
Okay, go.
How does that?
No.
No, I think you can take it off.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it back.
Oh gosh, that is.
Okay, so go ahead now. Did you cover it up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes it light.
It turns
I
on.
predicted that because we had a different one, so I predicted that was gonna make it light, and I got it right. But I
Why
didn't
do
know
you think that works?
Because
Why do you
like
think that's happening here?
because
I think
of
it's
the sun's rays went in it and then made it go into something to make it light. So it's like the sun going into a solar panel and making electricity for a light bulb or something.
You have 3 boxes. I want you to either draw, write bullet points, or write a sentence about the steps you took in your experiment. How did it look at first, before you even had your sunlight there? What did you do? And then what was happening because of that? okay? I don't care if it's pictures, I don't care if you want to do bullet points, or if you want to write sentences, but I need 3 steps here of what you observed as you were doing this experiment. Pictures, key ideas, sentences. What happened in 3 steps with your project? And I'd like you to get out your articles, Solar Energy as a Resource.
In the second part of the lesson, watch how the teacher first scaffolds the students' use of academic English by raising their awareness about the purpose, structure, and language features of science texts. Then engages the students in collaboratively reading and analyzing a science text. And finally, leads the students to write an explanation of the scientific concept learned in the hands-on inquiry task.
Okay, so we have actually explored the text Solar Energy as a Resource. We have done some good annotations here, and we're going to use this text today in an expert jigsaw to help us better understand what this text is informing us about. If we remember, this is an information description type of text. So show me genre. What is it? Information description. What is the purpose? And I'll help you here. It's to describe, define, or categorize information. So show me again. It is to describe, define, or classify information. Good. The structure here, okay? How do we structure our informational text? We use a statement that identifies the topic. We use descriptive facts and details. And we have a concluding statement about the topic, okay? So everyone do language feature. The language feature that we're actually going to focus on are connectives. Everyone say connectives.
Connectives.
Connectives, and more specifically, the type of connectives are sequential. So everyone do sequential. Sequential. Very good. So we're actually going to do some stronger connectives here, like initially, after, or thereafter, and then as a result. So we're going to use sequential connectives to help us understand this process of solar energy, okay? With your table groups, what did you notice about the text structure of all 3 of these paragraphs? Talk about it. What did we figure out last time?
It's not like step by step, like how like solar energy works.
Think about the text structure. What did we notice about the way each of these is structured? Are they exactly the same? Are they structured differently? We wrote it off to the side too. Were they all the same or are they a little different?
Different.
Talk about that. What did you
Different
notice?
because these 2 are description and this one is explanation.
I forgot to put what it is. Yeah, but basically these 2, but they all talk about like how solar panels work. They're just talking about different things in one. But they're still talking about solar energy at the same time.
Alyssa, what did you notice about the text structures of these paragraphs?
What our group noticed was that there was 2 descriptive paragraphs, and then the very last one was an explanatory.
Wow, we have 2 different types of text structures here. Paragraph 1 is what, class? It's a description. It's describing something, okay? And paragraph 2 was also what? Description. And then the author threw us in for a loop and actually created our 3rd paragraph as what time? Explanation. An explanation of something, okay? And that's okay, because in those types of texts, it's good to see different types because they have a purpose for each one too, which is why we go back to what our purpose was of information. If they want us to describe something, then we're going to have to describe it with facts and details. If they want us to understand the sequence of something, then they're going to have to use things like connectives to describe that. Now, before we get into groups, though, I want to recognize the success criteria that we need to go through, our jobs as we get into these expert groups. You need to get into your assigned group, okay? And then you need to complete the graphic organizer as a team. Depending on what paragraph you're working on, is the type of graphic organizer that you will be working on as well, and I'll explain that in a second. And then the biggest part is you need to become an expert of your section. In your expert group, you guys are going to be discussing your section, becoming familiar together, and using each other to build your knowledge about that section, okay?
What about the last one we should do at last? Like, at last, household at the end?
Perfect.
I
Write that.
mean,
I like that.
well, does it say that in your thing? In the end, it says, but it has end. So we could just use the end or at the end. I mean,
Is that like the end of like solar panels?
yeah, because that's the last thing it does.
What did we come up with?
We came out for after that.
After that, I like that.
After that, the inverter collects the energy from the solar panels.
Well, does it collect the energy? What does the inverter do? It's already collected in the solar panel. So what does that inverter do?
Takes the energy from the solar
It
panels.
takes the energy and does what to it?
It makes it to electricity.
Look at the text. Go back to the text. What does it actually say?
Oh,
I think you'll find your answer.
Inverter helps turn the
Electricity into power that can be used.
So what does it do?
it helps turn
Electricity into power.
Helps turn it into power. Yeah, that's what you want to say here, okay?
because your house needs electricity.
Power.
We're gonna like. So like kind of what we try to do.
I'm gonna kind of put in my own.
I think we should go with first.
So tell me what you want to put.
The
Which did you say? I don't know. Sausage. I said.
in the end.
No, I said.
No,
No,
wait.
I'm gonna write it in my own words. No, just say what you said right now.
Water and
Right now. I forgot. You said at last something. Wait, no, I think last household. No, at last the household appliances like refrigerator, stove, the more things that need electricity. We could write that, but if it makes sense, we could write that. But since it doesn't really make sense, we should just add more to it, not just at last something. We should say at last something household appliance.
Household appliance.
They're giving you the description of how it's like.
So we should write something like that.
All right, you are in your Jigsaw groups. Within these groups, I want to go over that success criteria in order to know what our job is. You need to use your graphic organizer to teach your section to your group. Second, academic discourse. I want to hear your conversations. I want to know questions you have for them. They should be the expert, so you should challenge them. Oh, why did it say that? Or what does that mean? Or even, oh, I concur with you, Alexis. I also realized that that was an important feature. Anything that's going to build that conversation and make sure that you are listening to your partners as well. Okay? And also, when you're using your graphic organizer, please make sure that you are allowing your partners time to write as well. Okay? Don't just throw out all the information to them. Maybe explain one of your boxes first. Let them write, have that discussion, and then share your other ones after that.
A solar cell is what converts sunlight into electricity, which is a quote.
Is that your words or in the text?
Yeah, it's in the text. That's what I said. Quote.
Just get like 2 details, that's okay. And then you can go to the second.
What paragraph?
Paragraph 2.
This solar cell converts sunlight into electricity, right?
Yep.
So the first sentence?
Yeah, the first sentence. Yeah. Okay.
Kimberly, your information.
Okay, so first is initially the panels are placed to get the most sunlight to receive energy. That's in the first box.
What does initially mean, Kimberly?
Initially means first.
Good. So she replaced it, and it had to begin, but she put it in her own words. So she said initially.
Initially,
So tell them what you put after that. Initially what?
Initially, the panels are placed to get the most sunlight to receive energy.
That's a good fact. So why don't you guys write that one down?
The panels are. So the next one for solar panels is then the sun hits the panels and it converts it into electricity.
so
After the energy is being converted into after the energy is being converted into electricity.
after the energy is converted to electricity.
Is being converted into electricity.
Wait, I need an eraser.
Then what? Is
After the
being
energy is being never mind. I don't need an
converted.
eraser. After the
Converted.
energy is being
converted into electricity.
into electricity. Electricity.
So the last box says, at last, the electricity is being used for most stuff we need, like stovetops, refrigerators, and televisions.
So now we're going to reflect back. After learning about solar energy through that entire text, I want you now to write a one-paragraph response answering why our experiment worked the way it did. Why did that experiment work? Can you tell me really quick, why did it work?
It worked because the sun hits the panel.
What was the sun in our experiment? Did we have the sun in here to use it? What did we use?
We used the flashlight.
So you would say that the flashlight did what?
The flashlight,
What did it represent?
the sun.
So the flashlight represents the sun, and then what did it do because of that?
It did it gave the bobblehead energy, and then it was if it was farther away, then it would just give a little bit
How do you know it gave it energy?
because it didn't move that fast.
Because it was moving. So all of that I want you to explain right here.
Oh.
Yeah, so you know it. Really quick, I wanted to have a student share out, and then I want you to be listening and to think, do you agree with what they said or do you disagree with what they said? So give them an opportunity to share out loud. And Jocelyn, I'm gonna have you read yours nice and loud, sweetie. Can you read it really loud for everybody?
The flashlight was far away from the bobblehead, so it gave it less energy because it was far away from it. When we got the flashlight closer to the bobblehead moved faster because the flashlight got closer to it and it gave it more energy.
What do you think? Do you agree or disagree? Show me now. I do agree with that. That was beautifully stated. I want you guys to give Jocelyn an air high five. Go. Good job, girl. That was beautiful. That's exactly what we wanted to do today, was be able to write how the process of solar energy works. So we can explain not just that the bobblehead moved, but we know why it moved, that those solar panels are what gave it the energy to make it move, which is why it worked in all the different types of toys and objects that we used. So great job making that connection today, you guys. Good job.
Reflection and discussion. Reflect on the following questions. First, how did you observe the following focal content standards and supporting English language development standards being implemented in this Grade 4 Integrated English Language Development lesson? Earth and Space Science 3, Subitem 1, Earth and Human Activity. English Language Development, Part 1, Standard 1, Exchanging Information and Ideas. And Part 2, Standard 2B, Understanding Cohesion. Second, what features of integrated English language development did you observe in the lesson? Now pause the video and engage in a discussion with colleagues. The California Department of Education would like to thank the administrators, teachers, and students who participated in the making of this video. This video was made possible by the California Department of Education in collaboration with WestEd and Timbre Films.